In our today's class, we are going to discuss about market segmentation. Now, as the name indicates, segmentation, the word meaning, which you can know that you are categorizing or you're segmenting. Now, what is it here in our context? Definitely the market. The market for buying and selling of goods. When you talk about categorizing, the logic behind categorizing, the factors you will consider when you are categorizing your market, that's what we call as segmentation, right? So going forward, see, it's like this. Segmentation is you want to see, imagine yourself as a company trying to sell, say, a skincare product. Maybe you want to come up with a cream, facial cream, and you want to know where you should offer it. What are the features that would be needed for your particular product? Because we have learned that the marketing concept or the or the social concept of marketing, earlier we had learned many concepts like product concept, production concept, selling concept, where we would be just looking at producing it and pushing to the consumers. But now it's not like that. The marketers try to understand what customers need and produce according to their need and want. So, for understanding what they need, we have to understand where is it there is requirement for facial cream, where is it requirement for this category. Maybe you are looking at Ayurvedic cream, so you want to know whether there is a requirement for it, right? So when you're trying to understand the market, you will feel that as a marketer, as a representative of the company would be heterogeneous. In our class there are 39 students, and if we ask all of them, each one of, no, including me, there are 40. So each one of us would be having different opinion about the type of facial cream we need. We might say many things about that. That means maybe some of it would appear to be similar, but anyway, there would be a lot of different opinion coming up from when we talk about a facial cream, the type of cream we need. Somebody will say that my skin is very oily, so I need a cream that is suitable to oily skin. Someone would say, I don't like artificial things, I want only natural, so may prefer for Ayurvedic. Some people will say that I don't need a day cream, I need only night cream. I want my skin to breathe properly, so I want my skin to be free during the daylight. It can happen in the reverse way also. Some people would say, I want a facial cream with sunscreen protection so that I can, apply it and travel in the sun without bothering about the sun rays. Some would say that I would like little fairness cream so that my skin will glow. So these are the certain things that can come when we ask for a facial cream. So likewise, when a marketer looks, suppose if we are trying to sell that to the customers, we will feel that the market is so heterogeneous, so different with respect to the types and needs. Some people will say, we don't use a cream at all. We don't want a facial cream. We don't no, normally use where we only apply the natural things. Right. So that is why the marketers would like to know what is the actual need of the target group. You see the arrow which I have pointed, the target group. So that is where this segmentation help us to identify where is our target group, because segmentation is nothing but we are categorizing the whole market, the market which is heterogeneous, so variant, so different in its needs and want, into homogeneous group in such a way that within each group there would be more or less similarities, between the group there would be a lot of differences, right? So the entire heterogeneous market into different small groups of homogeneous nature, that's what we call as market segmentation. Now, what is the basic idea behind this segmentation? We want to know which is our target market, where should we, I'm just introducing few terms which would be which you would be learning in the next few classes. The first key term is target market. The second one is positioning, product positioning, which we're going to learn. Okay, after segmentation we are going to learn about target market and also market positioning. So a marketer would like to know where is our target market and how and what are the ways in which we have to position our product. So that is the importance of market segmentation. So in our example which we were discussing, suppose if we are planning to bring an Ayurvedic product, we have to see how many, where is the target group, how many people actually can come for buying this Ayurvedic products with the so-called features. And if they are for Ayurvedic products, what are the features that they expect in that product? What is the pricing they look for it? What is the type of promotion which would be efficient enough to reach to this target group? So all these, if we want to know, we have to identify this homogeneous group from among the heterogeneous. It is for that purpose we are going with market segmentation. Right now, I'll just show you the different. You like cars very much, so I am just placing before you a car which is very common to Indian market, a brand which is very common, Maruti Suzuki. Okay, this is a brand which is very common to Indian market, where you can see that all these brands are popularly available, like Maruti Swift, Baleno, Ertiga, or Brezza, or Wagoner, or as we say, no, Alto, or maybe no. When you look from the perspective, you have these different car models which the company has brought. Why should a company bring so many models at different prices? Because it can range from 8 lakh to, you have the Alto which is available around 3 lakh. Why should a company bring so much of car varieties for the Indian market at different prices, with different features, with different look, with different color options? Because this is because the company knows that the market is so heterogeneous, and they've categorized based on the need. See, people like me, maybe we will prefer a small budget car, where a small compact car where you can easily take and carry through the traffic and all. Some people will prefer luxury car, where they look at the features, the comfort available in the car, and they may not be bothered about the price factor. So likewise, the company will be looking into the different segments. So there can be one segment which talks about budget cars. There can be one segment we look for the fuel efficiency. There can be one segment for those people who prefer the comfort. So the company can plan accordingly and bring different car models for each of these segments. So for that, the company needs to identify how many segments can be identified in Indian markets, and for what all segments they can offer these car models. Maybe company cannot offer to all. See, the luxury premium, you don't get a car for Maruti generally offers a car which is less than 20 lakhs, right? Because they don't go with that branding where they are under the luxury premium category. They are not like that for the Indian markets, right? So that is why the company will identify which are the segments, which are the homogeneous units for them to offer the product. So for knowing that, they really have to segment the market. That is the importance of segmentation. Later in our discussion, we will learn about what are the different ways of segmenting the market. Maybe on the base of geographical location, you can segment, like urban or rural, or tier 1 city or tier 2 city, metropolitan cities. Likewise, based on the geographical location, or maybe if you say that hilly range, hilly areas where you need no the tire, the requirement for tire and all, which would be different. So that's why the requirement, the type of vehicles you should have, a car engine with high power to go in the hilly regions, all those. So the requirement can be different based on geographical or it can be based on gender. And maybe female, they may not, most probably go with a sports car. Very rare they go with preference for a sports car, SUV or MUV category. So based, I'm not saying they may not, but generally the preference can be for comfortable driving comfort. They want convenient vehicle, easy to carry, all those things, easy to park. All these facilities might be looking upon by, if we make a categorization based on male and female, female might be preferring that. Then there are different, we are going to learn that in detail at a later stage. There can be based on culture, or as we say, maybe based on the family system. Say when you talk about micro unit of family, you might be preferring a small car with all comforts. But if you are talking about, as you say, no, the where you have a extended family, where you have grandparents and grandparents living with you, extended family category, you might prefer an 8-seater or 10-seater vehicle. So that also can affect the type of vehicle required by different segments. So that is something which is based on geographical or psychological basis, or maybe culture, based on culture, or based on the general conditions that is available within the society. All these, right? Class, your maybe middle, lower, higher, all these. So that's where we talk about the importance of segmentation. Now, the stages of segmentation broadly, okay, broadly, the same stages of segmentation can be categorized into the first one as identification stage, second one is segmentation, targeting, positioning, evaluation, and correction. So these are the basic stages in market segmentation process. Now, what do you mean by this identification is, see, suppose if I want to offer a product, see, we were talking about automobile, we were talking about the facial cream. Now we will discuss about, suppose if a company is going to offer the food, online food, because that has become very popular nowadays. So the company is planning to, Swiggy is already there in the market, Zomato is already there. So they are already into the food, restaurant chains, or offering the prepared food. Now they would like to enter, you imagine they are planning to enter into grocery shop, grocery category also, because they identified that there are large scope for it, since in COVID people have to go with the distancing protocol, so traveling is restricted. So they might be preferring for online buying or purchase of grocery and other stationery items. So these companies have realized this opportunity. They've identified this opportunity. Now they really want to look up the market. Okay, they are looking. You take Kerala. So they are aiming at different, because this the requirement of type of grocery items can be very different. Some common items can be there, but the brand preferences, the taste preferences, the quantity preferences, the item, the ingredient preferences, all these can vary from state to state, and if you bring down from district to district in Kerala. So these marketers, like imagine Zomato, they just looked into what are the category of grocery items which are very popular, because they have to ensure that they have enough category of, or enough collection of grocery items when they open up for the Kerala market. So they are initially looking in by identifying the different types of markets, different the whole Kerala market. Then they categorize that into different segments, maybe based on the they have to go with different types of segmentation here, because they are talking about grocery. So grocery means, we know that maybe if you are staying here from northern part, there are a lot of people from the northern part of India who have been into Kerala because of the job related responsibility. So definitely you have to know what is the kind of preferences which will be made by those people. Then you have people who've been originated from the state, who have their own taste and preferences and the brand preferences. So you will really have to decide upon what will be the type of brands, what is the occasion of purchase of different brands. Because if you look into Onam, these no the lot of grocery items will be connected with Onam cuisines, like as you say, instant payasam mix or chips or maybe sambar powder. There are a lot of things which are very much related to this particular celebration in the state. So, as a grocery seller, Zomato needs to segment the market based on maybe some into geographical segmentations. They have to go with the cultural segmentations. They have to go with the preferences. They have to go with segmentation based on the occasion. All of these, if they really have to come up with a store that is appealing to the customers of Kerala state. Okay, so that is where we talk about the first stage, identification of the market strength. Maybe they may not be able to offer everything what Kerala wants. So what they will do, they will look into the profitability factor, the turnover factor, the occasion of purchase, the number of purchases they are making in one single buying. So all these things they have to look from the perspective of identification. Right, so that is the first stage, where identification of the market, identification of the product, identification of the consumers available. And once you identify that, you're going to segment. Segmentation can be, as I said, no, it can be on different basis. In this particular cases, maybe the company will look into the type of preferences, the type of demand coming up in the market. Maybe they will go with a survey based, to understand what should be the items to be made available in the grocery shop. So that is segmentation based on the requirements, based on the taste and preferences of the people from Kerala state. Now, if you look in the offering made by Zomato, maybe in Tamil Nadu, can be totally different from what is available in Kerala state, because we know some of the brands that's been available in Tamil Nadu may not be available here. And people from Tamil Nadu may be preferring those brands in spite of where certain brands like say, as we say, Melam or Saras or Nirabara. All these are some of the brands which are very popular in Kerala, and they may not be very popular in Tamil Nadu because there is taste difference for the masala or the ingredients that you put into. So that is why the company will have to go with a geographical segmentation based on the taste and preferences. They have to look into the brand preferences based on the requirements. They have to think about the occasion in which they are buying. And then finally, they have to identify which is their target market. Okay, so the targeting is a concept where the company will be focusing on the needs and demands of the actual or prospective buyers, because they will be looking into first they will look what are the types of customers who normally come into the Zomato for buying. They will look up, and maybe they will identify the needs of these people, because there can be a big category of people who are totally dependent on kirana shops or the shops that are near to their locality. They might be making credit purchase, and at the end of the month they will be paying the money when they get the remuneration. So such customers definitely will not be traveling to this online grocery shop, because where you have to make the payment on the spot, right? So you have to identify the target customers, and then you will be looking into what should be the type of products you have to make it available online, because some of the products no even the target group may not be purchasing it from a grocery shop. So there is no point in keeping it over there or making it available. Instead, you can concentrate on some other products which are of high demand. right? So that is why we talk about targeting. Targeting is you are focusing on who are the actual sellers to your actual buyers to your this online grocery chain, all right? And then once you know the target segment, once you know that broadly the working people or those people who are busy engaged with their work, or maybe people, pandemic is a different condition, still those who cannot travel or those who don't prefer to travel, so you have to understand the needs and preferences of these people. So that is what we call as targeting. You are actually looking into the actual or potential is these category of customers are presently not into this, but if you are trying to position it correctly, the next word position is correctly to them through proper advertisements or promotional strategies. It is it sometimes they might switch into this online purchase because maybe because of the convenience, maybe because of the offers available, maybe because of the heavy discounts, maybe because of the conveyance facilities offered by these online shops. So that is possible. So that is where we talk about this target customers. The next stage, that is the fourth stage in market segmentation, is you're positioning it before them. Now, the first way, as you can say, when Zomato went with grocery and all, the first way was they were advertising it through the Zomato uh, app itself. They were saying that we are entering into grocery, we are offering this facility also for our customers. So they were doing it like that, so that there is a word of mouth advertisement being done. People who are already satisfied with Zomato from the prepared food category, they might also switch to this one. So that is where they were actually positioning it for the first time. Then they win with a lot of advertisements like television advertisements, online advertisements, making people aware that they follow all the protocols, and the grocery items can be brought at their doorstep. So that is positioning. You're positioning in such a way that they are positioned it with lot of offers. Like if you take up a coupon, a monthly coupon, then you get a huge discount. Monthly purchase coupon, you get a huge discount. Likewise, they have come up with lot of offers for positioning that. Right? So this is market happening. You are straight away entering into there through this advertisement and all. And then evaluation and correction is just a measure where you will look into. You will evaluate different product category which are of heavy demand. Because if the product is not available continuously for long time, maybe the consumer will switch from Zomato to some other online platform like Amazon. They are having an online grocery platform, right? Amazon has positioned in such a way that it will be very easy, it is very quick for you to procure these kind items, and they have many other specialized items also. Likewise, many supermarkets have also gone with online purchase options. So that's why switching over is very fast if customers are not satisfied with the brand availability or with the product category availability. So continuous evaluation. Zomato will be continuously evaluating how many new customers, how many new accounts being created on a monthly basis. And if they find that they are losing a lot of customer base, lot of accounts, they will see what are the reasons. They will just go with the survey. What are the reasons behind that, and they will take corrective measures. So broadly, we were trying to discuss about segmentation and how that is actually practiced by marketers. Segmentation, in nutshell, is just identifying the requirements of the customers by segmenting or categorizing them into homogeneous groups. And the various stages, which we said, is identifying the market, because if Zomato has to come up with a grocery, they have to see what would be the market volume. Where do they have a space? How many are already there? What are the number of competitors they are available here in the market? and what type of activities they do, and what is the competition level, and what is the margin, selling margin, profit margin which they can get, all these things. So based on that, then you will go with a segmentation, trying to identify the actual market, actual potential for you to start up with a grocery chain. Then the rest is, we're going to learn that in detail. Target is, you are aiming into where you want to place your product, where you want to. Here in this case, it's a grocery chain, where you want to offer it, and then you will position it clearly with very with clarity of what are you trying to offer and how are you trying to offer, how different are you from other competitors. That's what we call as positioning. If I have to remember you, I should remember you with some kind of special feature, otherwise you will be like everyone to me as a customer. So that is where we talk about positioning. And evaluation and correction is actually a feedback mechanism. You take number of accounts created. If it is less, you will take measures to improve it, and you will go with a continuous process. So that's about the stages of market segmentation. And the last part which we would be discussing in our today's class is, what are the requirements of effective segmentation? Now, when I'm talking about the requirements of effective segmentation, it would be, one is, it should be measurable, because if I have to offer something to a market, I have to understand what is the actual demand coming up from that market, actual and prospective. Because when I'm starting to do a business, the primary aim for every business is making profit, right? And definitely everyone would be trying to maximize their profit by offering the best to their consumers. So if I'm not able to identify, I have segmented it, but I don't know how many are there, then there is no point in segmentation. I should understand my market potential. That's why we say that when we are going with the segmentation, it should be measurable. It should be measurable. In fact, I would say I have introduced this word as Mazda. It will be very easy for you to remember Mazda. Mazda is measurable, accessible, substantial, differential, actionable. Mazda. Requirements of effective segmentation, just use a keyword Mazda. Okay, so measurable talks about it should be possible to measure the actual potential of the market. Accessible is, suppose you have a market, you identified there, yeah, there is a market for you, but if the accessibility to that market is restricted because of government regulation, government has regulated in such a way that you cannot offer such product categories. Say, for example, if I want to manufacture defense equipment, I have a market for it. There are many, even defense equipment, if I start manufacturing that, there would be a lot of demand for it. Even the local people will come for it. But the problem here is, it's restricted. As per legal legal framework of our country, manufacturing or supply of armed weapons or keeping it is also restricted from Indian legal framework. Manufacturing is restricted. So how do I do that? It's not possible. So for me, I cannot access that market because there is some frameworks, there is some restriction, right? So that is where I look whether that market, that segment is accessible to me. So that is the second A, accessible in our Mazda, the keyword A. And then substantial. Suppose if I find that there is a market, but if it is very minimal, in the sense, suppose if I find that the demand for a particular product is very limited, it's not worth for me to go with production of that. It's not worth for me to advertise about that because the number of consumers coming up for that is very limited. In that case, it may not be viable for a company to go with the extensive production and distribution if the demand is substantial, very minimal. So that is where we call that segmentation If it is very minimal group of people brought under one segment, then that is not an effective segmentation. There can be different ways for segmenting. If I find that people, say suppose if I want to look up ethnic group and offer the product to different ethnic group, if I find that some of the ethnic groups are very limited in number, then I may not go with segmenting those. I will ignore those. So that is where there should be substantial number for segmentation, large enough to be identified as a segment. And the Mazda, the next D also is very much related to that. One segment should have distinguishable feature, clearly identifiable feature from the other. Suppose if there is overlapping, lot of overlapping between each other, that's not a good segmentation. Segmentation, if you go with the segmentation, it should be clearly identified, the demand, the need, the features, it should be distinguishably identified. If not, that will not qualify for a segment. I think you can make all that into a one category. Right. So that is again another feature called differentiate. You should be able to differentiate between each other. And the last one is actionable. The actionable is very much related to accessible. Actionable is I have a plan. I have a very good, excellent way of presenting. But the problem here is my plan, my plan may not be applicable in the present condition. There can be a different reason for that, but it's not actionable in the present condition because of, say, for example, because of some cultural or religious restrictions, or there is a demand, there is a market, and I can identify it. To some extent, it is accessible. I can sell the product, but my action may not be possible because of some religious restrictions, or because of some cultural barriers, or maybe because of some other aspect which may be temporary. As I say, maybe call the pandemic. Suppose if I want to go with door to door selling of a product, homemade product, maybe at the present situation, it is not an actionable method of selling the product by, recently I was wondering, because one of the engineering college, they have sent their students to across the home for selling up the product that is being manufactured by the startup. They have a startup unit, and they've gone with some electronic equipment which can some electronic equipment which can improve the efficiency of your lights, your efficiency of your lights and other electronic equipments, and they've gone with that, and it's priced well also. But the method being adopted by them is sending the students to different homes for selling this. Such a because they thought the other methods of selling is pretty expensive for them. They cannot advertise it through television or media or any other method, because that all incurs huge cost. So they have sent the students from home to home for selling. But that's not a good idea at this point. Particularly at this point, it's not an actionable idea, because people will not allow these students to come in because of the COVID protocol. They might fear because they're traveling from one home to another. Above all, it's not a safe situation for the students also. So likewise, we will be looking from the perspective of whether that is actionable. So measurable, accessible, the market should be accessible to you. Substantial is the volume should be substantial enough to go with the segmentation. Differential means you should be able to differentiate between each other. And the finally is, it should be possible to implement that at the present time. So these are the requirements of effective segmentation, right? So to summarize, in our today's class, we discussed just about three things. We introduced what is segmentation, then we said what are the stages of segmentation, and finally we concluded with what are the different aspects or effect requirements for effective segmentations. And market segmentation is nothing but it's actually dividing the market into different homogeneous group so that it is very easy for you to understand the needs, the wants, the differences, the tastes, preferences of the target group, right? So that is what we talk about the segmentation. Then we talked about how or what are the stages. In that first stage, we will talk about the identification of the entire market, and then from identification we go with segmenting that into different categories, and from segmenting, the next thing what we would be doing is we will be going with uh, the final actually we are targeting, we are looking into the target and offering identifying the needs and uh, wants of the target group, and then we are producing a product that is suitable to this target group, positioning it perfectly, and finally going with the feedback mechanism. And then we talked about the requirements, and we have coined a word for easily remembering the requirements of market segmentation, that is MUSDA. You will remember that, right? MUSDA. MUSDA is nothing but it should be measurable, it should be accessible, it should be substantially large enough, it should be possible to differentiate, and lastly, it should be an actionable idea. It should be an idea that can be implemented. It should be a segment that is possible to implement the actual marketing strategies. That's it.